All right, good afternoon. I'm so sorry for revising a lot of things and then keeping re-waiting. I'm out of town and I was struggling to connect for the longest while. And I finally got a place. The signal was very weak, so I had to transition again. So I'm really sorry for keeping you waiting, but I'm here and I will not keep you for long. Ideally, I want to share something which I wanted to share like 3 weeks ago, but I wanted us to meet together face to face, and that's how come I was really looking forward to us meeting until things got a bit fluid and people running around vuvuzelas and pesos, throwing people out of class. So I couldn't meet. I thought it's not good to get you to school when there was still a bit of picketing, but I think that's down. But I traveled this week. And so I just want to share something because I don't want to keep you for long because I already kept you waiting. And then we can take it from there. So just allow me, I'll just which is basically the central scaffolding around the learning process for this module. And then we'll take it from there. So I want to share what I wanted us to do. So I'm taking it back a little bit. This is in the course outline. But okay, let me not share this first because I want to share this. I'll share this document shortly. But the gist of what I want us to do is so this is what is the thing that I want us to do, and that's basically how we're just using it as a scaffolding for learning, but it's important because the last time when we met, I think probably not last week, maybe last week, but one, we were talking about policy analysis, okay? And I think we've taken a bit of time, strategy, policy analysis. And what your team will do, and I had requested someone to talk to Gloria to share with me the groups or the teams, and I think no one did, and I probably didn't also remind her. Gloria, kindly share with me the teams, the groups. I hope by now they are constituted. But this is the task for us for this unit this semester, is to carry out policy analysis and only following policies for Kenya, in other words, the national policy for Kenya concerning a number of these policies, okay? So there are 7 of them, so your team will select one, and my desire is that you probably are going to have 12, 13, 14 groups. So my desire is that you don't have each of these areas of more than three teams, because I want us to be able to cover all this, because at some point towards the end, we shall come and be able to share this, okay? So this is Kenya National Information Society Policy, Kenya National AI Policy. I think that's something that is in progress as we speak. A cryptocurrency policy for Kenya, health ICT policy, again, this is somewhat is done. Actually, some policies exist right now, but we probably are going to be part of the background documents, but you still have to go through the process. ICT policy for agriculture in Kenya, national ICT policy for education, and lastly, knowledge-based economy policy for Kenya. So those are basically the seven focus areas. So just to generalize, information policy, AI, national AI policy, cryptocurrency policy, basically ICTs around health, delivery of health services, and the contribution of ICTs or whatever, implementation on impact, stuff like that. ICT policy for agriculture in Kenya, national ICT policy for education, and a knowledge-based economy policy for Kenya. So this is what this is what you're going to be doing for the next maybe 10 weeks or so, okay, as a team. And just so you know that this is the scaffolding around which you shall be doing as you go through the learning process. So a number of topics we're going to look at together in class, but you have to look at some of those topics as just areas that we're opening up. But as you look at this area and perhaps begin focusing on what needs to be done, then there's a way in which those different topics we're introducing, plus the content in terms of papers, in terms of policy papers, in terms of white papers.
We took Kenyan students to France to compete with other TVET institutions on the global stage. While the rest of the world showcased AI, related and STEM-related projects. We presented bookmaking and cooking. I really felt for the guys. They must have felt so irrelevant.
Okay, but you cannot hear me, right?
Yeah, Africans are Africans.
So let's continue. In case there's a question that we can ask at the end, I won't keep you for long. I said I was going to keep you for 45 minutes. I should be done in the next 15 minutes or so. So these are basically the areas, and I'm going to share this so that then your team can then go ahead and select one topic. And I said, if possible, let's have a topic, maybe max 2 groups of handling it, so that we don't have everybody handling it. And we have diversity towards the end. You can share. We shall be able to learn from each other. So now, listen, we talked about policy analysis, right? And I think we gave us some documents around that, and some papers around that, and of course you're free to basically look at that whole process. So to be able to go through that process, then you have to think about what is the process for formulating the policy. In other words, these are things that your team will have to think about. What is needed to formulate the policy, in your area? Information, resources, by resources, that is all encompassing. What kind of resources do you need? What needs to go into that space? What do you need to put into that space? So think about all of that, and where can we get that you need? Resources, information, whatever it is that is required for that process. Where can we get it? Then how then do we go about the formulation process? Okay. So then, of course, you need a plan for the policy formulation. Or you need a plan. You don't want to run to the blind. You probably want to look. Okay, this is like what I think week 4 or 5. You have how many more weeks? Maybe around 7 more weeks towards the end of the semester. What is that going to look like? So that you sit down, think away from a project management point of view. You think about breaking down some of the things that you need to do, breaking it down into tasks, and how long are these tasks going to take? When does it start? When does it end? Are you going to allocate who's going to do what? Then you can come together and discuss. So think about, just think about a plan. A project plan, as it were. And then, of course, you then go ahead towards carrying out the policy analysis, formulating it's basically a pilot, because you shall not be able to get all the resources and the time and everything else, but you need to be able to come up with something, policy, then write up and communicate. That's basically what you need to do. I just gave this preliminary, because those are things you know about. And then as far as the assessment,
That's all that's
50 marks are going to come from there, so that's how come choose your team wisely. Okay? There's going to be self-assessment, there's going to be peer assessment, and there's going to be my assessment.
This is too much drama, man.
So I'm sure by this coming week, we shall give a good week, so we're going to use. So we assess ourselves. What do we mean by assess ourselves? What have we learned?
Kali mchapa kofi then ingekubali. Hapa something is.
What did you
get? Ungeshikana mashati ungesema.
How did you perform this learning process?
Whatever vice president, whatever deputy president. Wapigane tu wote ni all their bosses.
And I think I may introduce something else. Just basically, I think so. Assessing the learning process,
ukiona moturi na kaunga ukipigana utakuwa na will try save
assessment and this assessment is going to be open. It's not opaque. There's going to be a rubric and you're going to assess and justify, so to say, and that is as a team level. Okay. All right. I thought of just mentioning that. Then let me go back to this.
Nilikuwa kiangalia stuff fulani tu. Okay, sisikii.
At the end of this unit,
tulikuwa na group ya each prep.
These things. Okay, that's define ICTs. We've probably already gone through that. Discuss ICT perspectives.
Najua kuna mmoja tuliongeza shahidi. Sikumbuka ni hiyo ni
discuss the implications of the information society. We introduced the information society last week. So that is something you want to apply yourself in.
Hiyo ni tulikuwa some moja.
Some
uliuliza Gloka alikuwa na group pass.
I'm away this week, so I'm going to sit down and just
umekosana na bibi yako bro.
Just reformulate the classroom so that you can get out the materials. Then discuss institutional legal. Okay, I think I was saying the documents then.
Lakini kumbuka vile alikuwa anaongea kana
Okay, I'll unpack this just now, but it's basically the institutional, legal, and policy implications of ICTs, or institutional legal and the policy space basically be able to discuss that, okay? Because they are normally, when you have, say, the ICTs being rolled out, there's a policy around it, because legal issues, there are laws actually. Presently as we speak, I think there's a task force, we completed their work, that was tasked to bring together all the different policy positions and then come up with a legal framework so that after that, then the lawmakers, parliamentarians can come up with one comprehensive law, act of parliament around ICTs. And I think Professor Aima is chairing that task force that is bringing together all the different ICT stakeholders, all the different government people, all the different law, legal people, they are being brought together to be able to come up with that. Okay. Critique the ICT policy formulation process, okay. Support ICT policy formulation. In other words, by the time you're leaving, some of us who shall find us themselves in task forces coming up with ICT policies or information service policies, and we should be able to support them. And then critically discuss the potential impact of ICTs in society. Okay, that is something, of course, that we're hoping that we shall be able to assess the national information society policy. We should be able to do that. And then lastly, engage with and communicate with corporate, government, and societal actors on potential valuable outcomes and impact of ICT uptake and use. Okay, this looks like a lot, but if you look at it, some of it is knowledge, some of it is skills. For instance, supporting the policy formulation, engaging with and communicating with these people is basically some kind of competencies. And others are skills, like the critiques, and perhaps others around discusses more or less the knowledge around ICTs and the outcomes and impacts in society, as it were. So I just thought this is, of course, this is something just as a yardstick, or rather to more or less go back and keep saying, am I getting closer and closer to this? Because ultimately assessment should be around this. In other words, these are the kind of skills and kind of competencies you should be able to garner as you go along to this. Okay, so you basically saying for us to go through the learning process, you give us a task. This is a task, and that is policy analysis and formulating of the policy. So if you remember what we said about policy and policy analysis, then it tells you something. To be able to do that is a lot of learning to do. It is a lot of reviewing to do. There's a lot of looking at this ICT space, and we shall be looking at different aspects of it in the next few weeks. Just illuminating it, and then let me play around with it and then see what should we be able to come up with. And then, like we said, these ones I just gave us the preliminaries is as a team now sits down and begin to come up with a plan on how you're going to do it. Perhaps those are interesting things you can think about. But this is not cast in stone. This is basically just tidbits throwing out there so that you can think about them, so that you think strategically as we're thinking about coming up with a plan to be able to do this. Because basically the task, the work is policy analysis, formulating of the policy, and writing up and communicating that. Okay. So this is what I wanted to share, but I wanted us to share when I have time and we can discuss. You can ask questions. But it looks like everything has conspired against us, and I thought we can't wait anymore. Again, I'm out of town. We need to be able to talk about it. So I want to end it there and ask for reactions or questions or any clarifications. And now it's open, anyone can ask a question. Yes, please.
Yeah, so the output will be public notes.
Let's get closer to the microphone. Let's hear a bit maybe.
Okay, can you hear me now properly?
Yes.
Yeah, will the output be like one large document?
Okay, so think about it. Maybe that is something that you'll have to think slowly. You don't want to rule here, because you're saying you carry out a pilot policy analysis, formulate the pilot policy, and write up and communicate the policy. So you're basically saying you're actually going to put a pilot policy on the table, right?
Yes.
So I will leave it there. Because you have to formulate some policy, okay, you will have to basically produce it, right? Because there's a communication bit that we shall talk about. I guess at some point you'll have to just come and just give the highlights. Of course you will give him whatever policy you come up with as a team. But you have to communicate it, because to us then I want different teams to be able to come and share with all of us, so that we can benefit from the different things, because they seem varied, perhaps, but there's a way in which many of us, even though we're trying to give different cards, some tools and some resources cross paths quite a bit. Okay, so I want us to be able to share to us the very end, which we shall all benefit out of that process. But it's really you who's going to define what are the deliverables at the end. But I say we will need to be able to see that process. We should be able to see that policy, and we should be able to basically write it out.
We should find out the process.
Someone else, whatever you want to ask, clarity.
sera opportunity. You imagine umesurvive bila help uni life yako kwa sawa. Sasa kuna msanii kutoka anaanza kupewa help.
Just to ask.
Should I apply help loan?
Yes, Kevin.
Okay, Nimo.
So this means since you're out of town, we will use the classroom Wednesday to discuss this.
Your help, so unaekana location.
So I'd like us to let me say this because we're going to be meeting from 9 on Wednesday. So it's going to be for me from 8. You could actually briefly in case things have questions, okay, or things you want to clarify. You can meet very briefly, like for 30 minutes. Then the things can be able to meet. What should I say? Because you see now you're going to be meeting teams, eh? So in fact, those 30 minutes are if people have questions they would like to ask or clarify. Alternatively, you could just email me or something like things. But then the teams have to meet. So I guess the teams, if you are virtual, you may have to set up your own, Google Meets or whatever. Or perhaps if you're in campus, then you can be able to meet and be able to just share together. But I'm willing to basically come in for a few minutes in case there's any questions of clarification. But yes, I'd like us to use Wednesday to sit down as teams and thrash this through and plan and come up with a plan. In fact, by the next week, that is the other Monday, I'd like to actually have teams share with me their plan of work. I think that is a deliverable by next Monday. You could just share, and I will be able to give in some bit of, a bit of reaction and a bit of input to maybe to improve it, or a bit of. We could talk about it a little bit. I think so by next week, in a week's time. In a week's time, I think, we could actually, hopefully we shall meet. I'll be back to town so we can meet physically. And that I would like us teams to be able to share with me what they have. Okay, so yes, I think coming Wednesday, if people want, in fact, let me leave it open. If people want us to meet, please let Gloria know so she can tell me. If teams want just to work completely differently on their own, I'm happy with that. Because now I know that we're going to be working, so it's okay with me. Okay. Anything else? I'm going to send this document just now. And you can look at it as teams. So basically that means the teams need to come together and begin thinking this through, flashing it through. If there are no questions, then I'll let you go. Then within the next 2 minutes, I shall share this with Gloria, then she will just sambaza it to all of you. Is that okay? All right, great then. All the best, and let's work on this, and then let's meet on Monday. Maybe basically for the first time, we'll probably do something small, another little topic, and then teams can meet, and I'll be available to just give feedback on what people have done. By then, at least the least you have is a plan. Okay, on how you're going to do this for next many weeks. Thank you very much. Then I'll meet you next week. All the best.